Well, what can I say? Absolutely fascinating. The brochures that you have with you gives you a short write-up on our speaker, and it's a great privilege to have had Libby here with us, and also in Singapore because she's left Hong Kong and is now living in Singapore and helping our Asian Civilization Museum get greater and deeper insights into all the artifacts. So what I'm going to do now is invite our speaker to come up stage here with me, and we'll take a few questions, and any of you who wish to ask any questions, use a mic.
Go ahead, there's a question.
Exoticism and originality. I want to ask this question regarding the value of collection. The description and engraving that you mentioned about, does it reflect the year of production, the quantity? For example, in 1975, the coins production in Singapore, the 1975 series is much more worth collecting. Value is much because of the name, the quantity of production. So in the exoticism, originality, and the value of collection in terms of quantity of production, the early Tang or the late Tang, and which emperor does the inscription and engraving you mentioned about actually be able to reflect the year of production and quantity and under which emperor? So I believe that the quality, the circulation scale of circulation production quantity, and whether it's royal families or the commoners, I believe there should be some value of collection of that particular series, where the early Tang, late Tang, all this. And you'd like to give a better insight to my questions.
Mention about the inscription. Let me try to repeat here. Inscription also about different dynasties, and indeed not every pieces of gold they have inscription. They have the weight and the date. What we can tell through the style, indeed, also through the excavation. Tells about what dynasty or what, for example, early Tang, middle Tang, and then late Tang that give us another perspective to tell us the date.
Just to clarify the Tang part, I can't comment on your other Tang collection. In fact, there are several pieces which gives the date of some of the pieces, although it's a wide range. I think it's, I can't remember, 164 or something. There's also the bronze mirror, which led the battle of the Hangzhou, reclaiming the empire from Anlusang. And the Tang Cargo is basically, I think, Arabian and China. You have Buddhist and Islamic motifs, both on the Changsha and also on your Dragondra and all that. So as far as the Tang Cargo, the dates are there, and we believe that these are imperial gifts for the wedding, marrying the so-called princess to the Arabian caliph, because they wanted to use the Arabia to control Tibet, and that's why this political union. But unfortunately, it sank in Indonesia.
This one for them, yeah. And indeed, that would need more archaeological evidence and also tests. The test Tang Dynasty test also mentioned how the Tang emperor and then interact with the two kingdom. They sent the princes to the Two kingdom. As an exchange of the peaceful relationship. Yes. So in the Tang Cargo collection, that there's only 10 pieces of gold each.
But if you see the Changsha gold, which we have 55,000 pieces, you can see the whole range of the motifs. Arabic, Buddhist, it's very interesting.
It's very interesting.
And Tang Dynasty is only dynasty which is cosmopolitan. Canton itself is a Muslim city. You have the Persians, which are driven up by the Arabian into China. You have Nestorian Christians, and you have the Central Asian. It's very mixed. It is only dynasty that is really multicultural and multi-civilization. And because Singapore and Indonesia were trading ports between these two big area, the Arabic and China. And some of the routes also even go to Rome. For example, if you go into Josephus, the Roman history, Rome was almost bankrupt because they bought so much Chinese silk and there was an exporting of gold, so they banned the import of silk.
Could I ask a question? Why do you think the Tang dynasty was especially interested in gold? It seems as if throughout Chinese history, they seem to be like, very, very preoccupied with gold. Is there a special reason for this?
Yeah, that would be because they are very have strong influence from Persia, and that also related to the taste of the Tang Kingdom. The Tang Kingdom, they love something. You can compare between Tang and then Song Dynasty. Tang Dynasty, they love something like very strong color, and then the design is like elaborate design. But for the Song Dynasty, more literary taste. So the Song Dynasty is more like Chinese taste. That would very possible that the Tang people itself, because they always interact with different types of people from merchants, people even live with them, not just China, ethnically Chinese. So that would be one of the reasons they love gold. Yeah.
It's fascinating because in Malaysia, right, the Agongs and the Sultans, for them the royal color is gold. Yellow, the gold color. So as you go to Malaysia, you drive off to the States, you find that. So it's very, very interesting, color symbolism, whereas the Sung is more blue, right? Then you have the ceramics and all that. Much lighter. Okay, so any other questions, comments? Yes.
You have said Asian civilization had only about 10 pieces of gold and silver. Is it a sample big enough for you to draw a conclusion? If not, is the museum prepared to do anything to acquire more? Or are there any more?
That's one. We see 10 pieces of gold, but also 20 pieces of silver, and also some bronze mirror that happened in the Tang cargo Britain shipwreck. This is the fact that's happened that we bring out together with 50,000 pieces of Changsha gold. It reflects the situation in the Tang Kingdom, how they do the trading from sending from China. But when we look at the archaeology in China, like in Xi'an, Hejiachuan, or in southern China, or even those gold pieces or kept in Japan, we still, indeed, the amount is quite a number. So that makes, that will be, let us notice that indeed the gold is very popular in China.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I've got two questions. The first is that for most of the gold and silver that is used so much in during Tang Dynasty, where did it primarily come from? Was it domestic, or was it something that they had to import from the other countries? The second question is that the collection that's in Singapore, how big is that collection?
The collection is really, let me answer the second question first. The collection is really big, like 60,000 pieces of ornaments. But for the gold and silver itself is less than 50 pieces. So 98% are ceramics, and only little amounts, but they're exquisite group of objects. So I would say different perspective, in quantity, maybe it's very small, but the quality and the importance is very, very, very big. The first question that is about
Where did the most of the
origin of the gold? Origin of the gold.
Origin.
Yeah, the origin of the gold. That would be a very interesting question. You see some ammonite but that is a lead, some silver, and most of them possibly because during the Anusan turmoil, and lots of gold. They tried to melt it and then make another one, and originally from China, but indeed Southeast Asia. There's the test talks about the possibly some of the sources come from Southeast Asia, and there's lots of interaction between, because there's kind of currency, so it's hard to tell now. But possibly if we try to do more scientific research about the composition, that if we have a big database enough, that can plot, for example, in southern China, have a good example, good sample, and then make a comparison. Can technically you can pinpoint where they come from, but it's hard to do it because of the excavation situation.
May I elaborate on the Tang cargo?
Yeah.
In fact, it is in three parts. Then you have your so-called gold and silver. Then the other part with your ceramics, they are the like thin plates, the celadon, green, and the cups and all that. Those are only used for the Tang nobles. The commoner is not allowed to use it. The whiteware and all that. Then you have your chunk, 50,000 changsha bowls. So there are actually three parts.
Yeah, that's very simple.
Thank you. Yes.
I have a question. Is this Tang cargo from China to other countries or from other countries to China? What's the direction? And where is the origin of the ceramics? Where is the originality of the ceramics products?
Yeah. So the first question is the ship itself is Arabic ship. It's very interesting. Yeah. And Alabo.
Oh, okay.
And we now cannot exactly say should be Yangzhou, but we have evidence because of the mirror. There's a mirror talks about it. The Yangzhou, so very possible this comes from Yangzhou, sent out, and then the ceramics just talk about changsha bowls from Changsha, and there's more types, different types of pins that, because in China there's a Grand Canal that can transport different types of ceramics from the north to the south, and then try to export it. So most of them are from Changsha.
For the celadon and the logo plates, the raw material, like copper sulfate and all that, their trace is probably from Iran, the Middle East, and not China proper. But the production is in China, the Dragonins and all the other ones. So there actually a lot of, whether it's the land route, the Silk Route, and the maritime route, there's a lot of interaction between the Arabic, Tibet, Southeast Asia, and China. So that we say the origin of the plates, the material is actually from Middle East, the copper sulfate.
Yes.
If this gentleman could identify himself so that you know.
Yeah.
Just one question. You have shown one very strange looking watch, very big watch. It doesn't look Chinese to me. How was it made? What was it for? Looks like a piece of pottery. One single piece,
Yeah, this is a
very
very
magnificent, straight
management
looking,
with
with a long neck and a
dragon.
long foot. What is it? Can you elaborate more on that?
That one is made in China, but the design itself is like a Sasanian design. So the idea still back like from the early between Han and Tang period, the design. But when they in China, they similar to do you remember I showed another one on the in the Palace Museum? There's more elaborate. So they're same type of objects. So they're in China.
Surprising, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what.
But
Yeah.
that tall pottery piece, is there any use? It looks fragile. Seriously.
Probably is fragile. Right. Yes, yeah.
Okay, let me clarify this. Regarding the gold and silver wares, okay, they are the treasures. So I'd like to clarify whether barter trades is very common in those areas of either of time. Because barter trades are certainly, because from the shipwreck itself, there are hardly any specific on the currency used, kills of silver, gold that were being used in that period of time. Because I believe it's very booming because of the Persian Silk Road or whatever. And booming gold and silver trade, barter trade could be more popular. Is that true? Because from the shipwreck, the exhibit, there are hardly any kills of gold or silver currency that's being used. Because when the shipwreck, they do the business, I believe they also have to carry some currency and use during that period of time. So I'd like to clarify, is it barter trade that's more common until which century? And then the currency came into more popular usage. Because from shipwreck, is that true that from my prediction, or not prediction, I mean from the box, based on whatever evidence shown so far, is that true that currency, the barter trade is more common in those period of time?
And shipwreck, there's lots of coins, dynasty coins, yeah. They comes along the way to export from China. However, we don't know in the 9th century, is it like every region they're using the same currency? So gold itself or silver itself is a currency, and that's why the romantic people in Han Dynasty or let's say the century like 1 BC or the Han Dynasty, and why they carry lots of gold, because this is their money, they carry it, and then why if they just hide it like in your pocket, why not just make it more elaborate, wear it and then go around and everyone see it, yeah. So the concept actually is the gold. The metal is you melt it and then you try to cast it or hammer it and make another types of either currency or personal adornment. So
coins are more popular in that era of time. 9% that
it's popular. It's popular.
Then the tubes of gold and silver that they use that you got for.
Let's say you can eat like a US dollar, and then or renminbi or different types of different currency like Singaporean dollar, and then you go to a different country, you need to use that type of currency, but certain type of currency you can use more in more countries. It's a similar concept.
And gold, everybody needs gold. That's one of the things. I was listening to a program the other day about diamonds. Now they're saying there's the natural diamond, the grafted diamonds. And they're saying the grafted one, diamond from diamond, is not available as the ones from the mine, right? So it depends, yeah. Okay, yeah, maybe one or two last ones, and then we got food. Yeah.
You mentioned make some influence on the Tang Cai and make some influence about the reflecting the star or whatever. Can we hear more about your study on Tang Cai?
So Tang Cai
Make some reference to the comparison.
Yeah. What would you like?
I'd like to hear more about your study.
My study is more on the metal work, but when we look at one dynasty, you cannot skip one type of metal, one type of material. So I would like to look at the whole material culture of this one dynasty, make a comparison between what's the relationship between Tang Cai and other types of ceramics and with the metal work. That's the perspective I'm using.
Yes, you're making
Tang Cai
thesis actually, right? They're saying that Tang Cai is used as a replacement of the metal artifacts, right? The way to reflect refraction going to the Islamic Tang Cai. Is your own?
Yeah, it's my point of view. But of course, Tang Cai, the low firing ceramics, and then they always found in tomb figurine, like, and it's so colorful, but when you use it as a bowl, like, you cannot use it. Why? It's poisonous. Yeah. So always found in tomb figurine.
Any other questions? Yes.
Well, it's a very interesting collection, and I'm wondering how are we going to use it, to create meaningful impact for the youth in Singapore. Like for instance, how are you going to use it to educate them? Because that is already proven that in that dynasty is already multiracial, multi-religious, peacefully, prosperously living together. So is there any possibility to include that in our textbook?
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, we should suggest it.
Yes.
No, because China is also famous for tea and silk. So is it possible that, because what we can see from the cargo are the ceramics and the metalwares, which are durable, and maybe are there possible any other cargoes, like silk and tea, which may have already been,
Possibly there was sent from China, but why we cannot keep them? Because they are organic. Organic is hard to if it's underwater, as in storm. So textile in Tennessee is most textile we can find in Tennessee, especially in northern China because the weather is more dry. So we got many textile, but for the maritime archaeology, it's hard to find the textile or
Well, maybe I think on that note, we'll stop the formal proceedings and then we'll move and have some refreshments outside and some food.